Hello, Sensuals. I'm so happy to see you. Um, I've been out for quite a while, and I want to make amends here with a video that was inspired by several clients that I've been having in the meantime. And that is the most important discussion that I can think of. It's about intention. Now, you're watching my page and you're watching a lot of other pages on this topic for a very specific reason. And I think that's what is important right now, to clear up what that reason can be for you and for everybody else who's watching that page, for the people who do the work behind sexual development. So I think it's the most powerful tool of all, basically. Not to spoil all the video, but still. So the intention, first of all, you can call it the reason why you do whatever it is that you want to do. We can let aside the part about sexuality now. Just we're looking at intention. So the reason you're doing something, the end that you want to reach while doing something, engaging in an endeavor, whether it's for you, for work, for somebody around you. So it doesn't really make a difference. So you can call intention the driver behind your motivation, or the driver. Okay, that's a bad phrasing. So the driver behind everything that you do, that's intention. And in many places, we are asked, why are you doing this? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you investing the time in this effort? Why are you investing resources? Why are you connecting with the people you're connecting? So in many fields, it's crucial. Why you do things is very, very important. And we talk a lot about this. And there are many resources and tools for us to use in order to get more clarity on this, in order to make sure that the reason or the intention or the driver, the motivation is very strong and it's very healthy and it's founded very solidly in the ground. And upon that, you can build whatever it is that you want to build. By the way, as you're joining, you can say hello. I love company, so I won't feel like I'm talking all on my own. Okay, so in sexuality now, because we're talking about the sexual development path here, if you're following this page, the intention is not always discussed. It's not always accepted. Like, let me give you an example. Two people are making love, and one person is doing it for the fun. Now, the other person can get annoyed, upset, angry, bored, not interested. So there can be many reactions to hearing the other person's intention in intimacy. And we're talking about sexual intimacy here. So that's why a lot of people, and this is so this is very, very common, and it's not a problem if you ask me. Many people don't really share their intention. They don't share the real intention because they're afraid that it might be met with criticism. It might be met with laughter or mockery, or just this lack of respect or disconsideration for the other person. So, but if you were to have all grounds solid, then the question, what is your intention in intimacy, whether it's for a one-night stand, whether it's for just a short-term relationship or a long-term relationship, or whether it's your goddamn intention for your entire sex life? I know it's a big question, and I know a lot of us don't think about it, but if we take the time to do that, it actually can make a whole lot of difference. And here's what I mean about it, or here's what I want to deliver here for you. Since I started working in sexual development, I've been doing, I went to a certification, which was not easy, by the way. And after I was done with my formal training, I still had to do some sessions of pure practice. And once I had done those sessions, then I would get certified. So in the very beginning stage, it was very, very difficult for me to find people who were willing to do that kind of practice, bodywork practice. And bodywork, just to give you an idea here, in sexuality, it can mean anything from just focusing on your breathing, focusing on movement that your body is making, just simply getting into the habit of moving your body, and that's all. making sounds and expressing with voice ideas, needs, wants, again, sounds of pleasure, not while having sex with somebody, just as a work, as a body work. So, and yes, it can also get to the extreme where you get to be touched in various places and you focus on the sensations that you're having, the memories that are brought up to you, and so on. So body work is actually a very complex work. And in my beginning period, a lot of people were really reluctant. So a lot of people would come to me and they would somehow choose to simply talk and talk about their challenges, talk about what they wanted, but not do anything there in the session. So I was okay with this. Still, I needed to get certified, so I started spreading, and I started spreading the news out there, and I went with a different approach. I said, okay, if the people that are naturally coming to me are reluctant to body work, and I can get that, that's their boundary, then I was looking around me for people who were willing to do body work and, you know, go through the process. So I got a lot of friends jumped in and said, yeah, sure, I'll help you. Absolutely. Maybe I'll learn something in the process. Okay. So their intention, by the way, was to help me, not necessarily to grow. The growth part or the learning part was somehow secondary, but the upfront intention was to help me. So that being said, and I was aware that they were wanting just to help me, they had that secondary intention to learn, so I was okay with it. So I would go into processes, and at a certain point, I encountered a man who was very willing. He's in the kink community and in the BDSM community where I live, very open-minded, and like has done a lot of experiences. And what I did with him was try one of the more advanced practices, as in ask him to breathe in very unusual ways from the normal breath. So again, making sounds and moving his body. And I would simply touch in various places just to see what he felt, what came up for him, or what were the new sensations that he was experiencing, if there were any. So within 20 or 30 minutes or so, my friend was getting really, really frustrated and really, really anxious because there was nothing that he could perceive as pleasurable to him or as growth. So he started asking, okay, what's the point here? And I said, focus on the sensation. He kept breathing, and then after a certain period of time said, okay, what's the point? And I said, focus on your body. The point is to get everything moving and focus on your body and see what you're feeling. And he was really breathing, making sounds, moving. So he was doing everything okay, but he was agitated inside, the emotional state. And he kept saying, I'm not feeling anything, although he was breathing, moving, making sounds. So he was doing everything by the book. But it was so different that I'm not feeling anything. I looked at him and I said, okay, let's stop. I told him, okay, we're gonna cease because I don't want to put you in discomfort. And then I went back to my trainers and I told all of the story. And they replied to me, okay, what was your intention in that practice? And I said, well, we agreed that we would experiment and see what he would feel inside. So they came back and said, no, not your intention. What was his intention? So I sat down and I was thinking, and I said, well, he agreed to do this because he wanted to help me. And they said, yes, that was his intention, to help you. But it was not necessarily something that he was doing for himself. It was something that he was doing to help you. Now, he was helping you because he went with the session and you did a session. But he did not feel anything different, or he could not focus on the growth because his intention primarily was not on the growth. It was to help you. So I said, okay, there you go. So the intention, so when you start doing something, especially in sexuality, your intention is crucial. Obviously, in every other field in your life, it's crucial. But in this practice, it's very, very important. And when I went back to him and I said, look, this is the discussion that I had, and Yeah, it was obvious there that your intention was not primarily for growth. It was to help me. Now, that's not a bad intention. And by the way, I appreciate it. You want to do something for me. But guess what? In sexuality, you got to do something primarily for yourself and then for the other person. If you switch the roles, you do something for the other person, but you don't do it for yourself mainly, then that's when you get discomfort, which was what he was feeling. And this is where a lot of you can short-term relationships, even one-night stands, they can go berserk. They can go really bad. They can turn into bad experiences because one of the partners wants to do something for the other primarily instead of focusing on their own pleasure, experience, what they want, what they need. And so in doing that, they end up sometimes doing things that are not okay with their person, but it's okay for the other. But guess what? Overall, it's not okay. It can never be okay when you place the intention in sexuality in the first place outside of yourself. So when you place it on the other person, for the other person, it goes berserk. And we all know this in theory, but in practice, we lose track of this. When we start going into practice, when we engage with somebody, even if it's somebody that we love and we're in a long-term relationship, sometimes we love the other person so much that we forget about ourselves, and we want to offer to the other person so much that we forget about our needs and our wants. And in actual practice, this is what it looks like. You find that it's okay to do something. Hey, I don't mind doing this. Yeah, I'm not so crazy about it, but I don't mind it. And then you do it, and it's not pleasurable for you. And guess what? The other person can also feel. It's always like this. So the intention in sexual development, oh, I got a heart. I love this. So the intention in sexual development, it's crucial and important to keep it for yourself at the cost or at the risk of being selfish, egotistical, narcissistic, whatever else you want to think of, like the bad words that people really associate. If you place the intention first and foremost on you, then you do your part in making sure that that encounter is okay. Obviously, it's never okay to cross another person's boundaries. So let's say that we take another example from the one that I gave you in the beginning. So we take a couple right now, and both men, let's go this way. And one of the men wants to explore, what does he want to explore? Something crazy here. Okay, he wants to explore giving oral sex to his partner while penetrating his partner with a toy. Now, I'm sorry for everybody here who thinks this is outrageous. Somebody just went offline, okay? But I'm giving you the radical example here just to show you. So one of the two partners wants to experience this. The other partner, so he wants to give me oral sex and wants to penetrate me with something in the back. Okay, and that makes his day for whatever reason. Okay, am I okay with this? Yeah, sure. Is this bringing me pleasure as the second man in this discussion? Not so much, but if he wants it, who am I to, I don't want to kill his pleasure. Okay, and they start doing it. And the chances that the man who was not necessarily crazy about it, but he was not against it, the chances of him ending up feeling dissatisfied, not so happy about it, not so present in that moment because, it's something that he's not necessarily into. So the chances there of this going bad are obviously quite high. And guess what? The other person, their pleasure is also ruined. Why? Because we don't want, in the majority of cases, we don't want to have somebody with us in intimacy who's not enjoying themselves. Yes, we focus the intention on us and we know that we're doing something that we want, which is always correct. But what we want, so our intention, may not be compatible, not even a little bit, with the other person's. And when we still go for something like this, then our intention in sexual expression can turn everything really bad. And you're never going to be satisfied with a person next to you who's not enjoying it. So these are the risks that I see in sexual development around intention, which is, by the way, the most important one. Either you place the intention primarily on the other person and you lose track of yourself, or you place the intention primarily on yourself, but so much that you lose track of the person next to you. It's tricky, right? So how are we to go about this? Well, that's where communication comes into play a lot in couples. But until you reach a compatible or a bliss point where your intention matches the intention of your partner, each partner would have to sit down and really be honest. What is my personal intention? Like, before I find out what the other person's intention is, what is mine? What do I want? Why do I want to do this? Where do I want to go with this exploration, relationship or relationships? Or where do I want to get to by the time I'm 80? Do I want to still have sex? I don't want to have sex. Will I want to have kids out of sexuality? Will I want to be, I don't know, a guru in tantric sex or in BDSM? What do I want? Do I just want to feel loved and fulfilled in sexuality? What's my intention? It is a crucial discussion to have. And trust me, before you say, oh, but I know what I want to give you like 3 questions, and I'll tell you more where you can find other questions that can help you. So 3 questions that may help you realize a little better aspects about your intention that maybe you never thought of. So, first of all, what do I wish to develop more for my own body or for my own pleasure? When I think of what's my intention in sex, what do I want to develop more? Like, what's the thing that I think it's so beautiful to have, expansive and with a big impact in sex that I want to develop for me? What is that? You can take some time to think about this. Another question, what would make me more fulfilled in lovemaking? And when I say fulfilled, I'm talking emotionally, and I'm talking in your internal state. Satisfaction and fulfillment, 2 different things. Satisfaction is related to the physical, fulfillment to the emotional, to your expectation, your wishes, your desires, your hopes. When you're thinking of your intention for your sex life, also think of what would make you more fulfilled. You, we're talking about you first and foremost. Then you're looking at your partner also. And another thing, another question basically, which may help you, what are the fears or what is the shame that may be keeping me from expressing myself even better or more expansive or juicier in sex? So what are the fears or what is the shame that may be keeping me from expressing myself better, bigger, more expansive, juicier? Those questions, they can, if you really sit down to think about them, like maybe let's look at the 3rd question. Maybe you don't think you have fears or shame. Still sit down and think about one moment where you were making love to somebody and you wanted to do something more, but you didn't. Maybe you remember this. It's usually felt as a feeling of being sorry or having regret. So those are moments that we may also have in intimacy. And when we sit down and be honest with all of those, we get to see more about our sex life and our sexual expression that we haven't thought of. And that can lead you to your intention in a much more grounded way. Now, where you can find these questions, I have a new course online and it's on Udemy. It's at a promotional price. It's super cheap, like it's around $10. And it's all about how you can grow in sex. And there's a task there that all students taking this class go through, and that is setting their intention for their intimate life, sexually intimate life, basically. And they have 7, how many did I put? Yes, 7 questions. They are supporting questions in order for them not just to think, oh, well, I want to have sex for 4 hours. Okay, that's one intention, but there are questions there designed to see if there's a trigger or there's something that they haven't uncovered yet, they haven't dug up yet, and they haven't looked at. And I think around intention, like the reason, and this is the first thing that actually is in that training, why you're developing yourself in sex, reasons to do that. Why would you do that? What would your intention be? When we clear this up, and it's a process for everybody, we have a better direction. We're much more efficient. If you're a man watching, we're much more efficient at getting what we want because we speak it much more clearly. And we're also good at hearing the other person's intention, because it's also important. So yeah, this is in a nutshell about intention. Trust me, you could go an entire weekend and talk about your intention and twist it from all parts and look at it from all sides until you get more clarity on it. And it's worth doing this. If you're doing anything in sex, look at your intention. So I'll put the link under the video to that training, and you can check it out and see if it's okay with you or not, and see if there's value for you to take that resource as growth in sexuality. If it is, I would love to see you on the other side and get more questions from you once you start developing or delving into that class. If not, we'll be here on the Facebook page with lives, or there's a group that I have where I share a little more than I share on the page. It's a much more safer, much safer space for me. So I open up more. There are events that I do, and you can definitely, at each event, by the way, that I do, yes, everybody looks at the intention. That's the first thing ever. It's like nobody crosses the threshold of the door to the event without thinking about, what's my intention? Why am I here? So that's the first thing that I always start with, and I think every good coach or facilitator or even a good muse will also get you thinking, why am I doing what I'm doing? And in intimacy, yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful search to get into. So yeah, I'll put the link after the live is over. Check it out, and you can send me more questions if you think that this was, it just got you started and you want more information. And I'll try to answer here or in a private message. So I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you in the next live, which I'm not sure exactly when it will be, but I'll try to make them more frequent. That's my dog, by the way. He says hello. So I'll see you next time, and have a beautiful and intentional, intimate life.